Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack. So I haven't been feeling that great. In fact, you can probably hear it in my voice, but the experimental mode just updated in Overwatch, and unlike last time where we only got 27 heroes, every single hero received a change on this experimental update, and they were all buffs. And this of course was in celebration of April Fools, along with the Googly Eye update where every hero got Googly Eyes, including the payload. So that basically insinuates that none of these changes are scheduled to go onto the live servers, but we're gonna go through each and every single one of these changes, all 32 of them, and maybe you can comment down below which one is your favorite that you'd like to see on live servers. So let's strain my voice even more and look at all 32 hero changes. So we can go really fast with these changes. First, starting off with Ana. After she nano boosted teammate, she also gets nano boosted herself, similar like the last buff that she got from the experimental card tournament. All the buffs for Ashe are going to be belonging to her coach gun, where she's able to do a little bit more damage and also get headshots, and the spread is a lot more tighter, meaning you're going to get consistent damage with your coach gun if you did want to do it. Plus, it no longer knocks back enemies, which I don't know if that's a buff or a nerf. I would say it's kind of both, because this coach gun is mainly for, well, damage dealing rather than just trying to get environmental kills. Batiste received two changes, one to a secondary fire, where if you do a direct impact, it's going to do a lot more healing than if you're just to splash heals next to an ally. But his immortality field, now every single time you throw it on the ground, it no longer prevents enemies from dying, but rather it has a 50% damage reduction when they are in the AoE or vicinity of the immortality field. And of course, it has 15 seconds, meaning that you can use a little bit more frequently since you aren't waiting for the key moments like for Zarya ultimate. Bastion, I think, got one of the best changes on this update, surprisingly, where there is no more spread on his primary from a fire when you are in recon mode. It's literally just a laser. Wherever you put the crosshair, that's where the bullet's gonna go. And it's not like Soldier 76 where you have to compensate for recoil. It literally just goes straight. You can hold down the trigger and it will go wherever you're pointed at. Plus, he is a little bit smaller, similar like the experimental card tournament change that I got last time. Brigida's change is interesting, where every single time you hit a whip shot, it resets the cooldown on your shield bash, meaning that you basically have a 4-second cooldown because whip shot has 4 seconds of cooldown. Diva's change is awesome and fun, and I think they should really keep it, when you call in your mech and now deals 600 damage, basically a Diva bomb, and to call the mech back in when you're in baby Diva form, now it's 30% less than what it was beforehand. This is probably one of the most OP changes in this update, where Doomfist's rocket punch, you know, his primary Doomfist ability, can now send him upward. No longer having to use trajectory and use the maps of routes and whatnot. Nah, just use your 4-second rocket punch ability, aim it in the air, and you can travel upward. Echo's ultimate ability now lasts 30 seconds instead of 15 seconds, which I'll be honest, I feel like they overdid it with this change. Even for April Fools, this is just scary how many ultimates she can get in a single given time. Genji's change is one that I'm surprised isn't already in the game, but his deflect ability is now like his dash ability, where it gets reset upon any single eliminated target. Whether you use deflect, whether you use your primary from fire or your ultimate ability, or even if your teammate eliminates someone, now it just gets reset fully. Who did this? Who did this at the Blizzard office? This is probably why I'm sick right now. Somebody thought it would be a fun idea to bring back Scatter Arrow for Hanzo Stormare. I'm gonna cry. Moving on to a much better hero and much better change, Junkrat now not only gets 1 trap, he not only gets 2 traps, he not only gets 3 traps, but he gets 3 traps. He only gets 3 traps. Now, it's not like you can just send 3 traps one after another. You do have to wait for the cooldown to complete, which is 7 seconds from the previous 10 seconds. Lucious Buff is another one of those changes that I low-key want kept in the game, because every single time you use your Amp It Up ability, his boop ability gets doubled or tripled. It just gets amplified with the Amp It Up ability. McCree's change is totally broken, when every single time you get a headshot, it now refunds 1 ammo, so you can basically never have to reload if you, 1, are using hacks to only get headshots, or 2, are just an aim god. But the better change out of the two that he got is his Dead Eye ultimate ability now no longer just grants you 1 tumbleweed, but infinite tumbleweeds. It's amazing. Now, this is the change that every single person was waiting for me specifically. It is Mei becoming a tank. Yep, you heard me right. Mei is a tank on the experimental card right now, with a 400 health pool and a size increase of 15%, which I couldn't really notice. And you know what? I'm all for this change, because I am so tired of waiting for role QQs for DPS. If you make Mei a tank, I'll be queuing up for tank every single season, and I can finally get back to Grandmaster. Mercy's change, I honestly think, is overpowered too, even though it's so simple, because she's not only able to use her Guardian Angel on her teammates, but also the enemy team. meaning that when you use your ultimate ability, you can fly at any given part of the map and probably not get shot. Moira's change is extremely boring. The range got decreased, but the damage got increased for her sucky suck ability. And the Biotic Orb is kind of confusing because the cooldown gets reset by 1 second if you heal for 100 health, but I couldn't really notice it when I was using it in the training range, but it's a buff nonetheless. So Orissa's change. You see how she's walking backwards at normal pace? Well, how about we flip her around and have her moving forward because her speed got increased by 40%. Basically taking the idea of the passive ability of the Ram of the Heart idea that I gave for Orisa, where she's able to charge an enemy, have a lot faster speed. Well, here it's happening 100% of the time if you just press W, press forward on the joystick. Figure got one of those changes that I want to be kept in the game. Not really her concussion blast that received a 3-second cooldown reduction, but it's her Rocket Barrage ultimate ability. She's able to move when she's cast it. That means the meme is finally dead. Reaper keeps getting some of the best buffs on the Experimento card, where his Shadow Step, now the cast time is just a flat 1 second, but his Wraith form, just watch this, man. Reaper is finally a Grim Reaper Ghost and is now given the ability to float every single time he uses his Wraith form ability. This change is so fun that even if it is broken, I want kept in the game because it's just too good not to be kept. Reiner's change is actually a change that we saw in the Overwatch 2 behind the scenes look, where he's able to have a little bit more power whenever he's steering in his charge ability, meaning that you can do a full U-turn if you do time it out right. Roadhog's change is very simple. You basically have a 4-second cooldown reduction if you do hit an enemy, but only by your hook ability. You can't melee somebody, you can't shoot somebody to reset the cooldown, you have to hook them to reset the cooldown. So Sigma's change to a shield where's the shield? Wait, where's the shield? What's happening? Why am I floating? Why am I not dropping to the ground? Well, what is happening? So Sigma can now fly indefinitely. I mean, he was always able to fly because, well, he always floated, even if it was only like 3 inches off the ground. I don't know how to feel about this change. Like, I don't like a shield, so I'm glad that it's gone, but him being able to not drop to the ground just seems very, very overpowered. And his kinetic grasp got a reduction of 4 seconds. Yay. Soldier's change is really cool. He's able to print his own bullets every single time he runs, 6 bullets per second that he is running to be exact, but his tactical visor also now grants him the ability to get headshots, meaning that his ultimate ability is just one of the best in the game. Sombra's change was really confusing. I didn't know what stealth changes meant, but basically what it means is that every single time you are in your stealth ability and you do get shot at, you no longer become unstealth. Like, you just get detected, but you don't become like uninvisible. But you can't hack while you're invisible, you can't shoot while you're invisible. Basically, you can only be invisible until you choose to be invisible or until you die. Symmetra got a boring change that I wouldn't be surprised if it did go onto live servers, but the range to her primary form of fire got increased from 12 to 16 meters, depending on what level you are at for the primary beam, 1, 2, or 3. The memes never stop for Torbjorn because now his hammer gets a 200% damage increase every single time you use the overload ability, and you get 2 add seconds to your Angie Boy ability every single time you get a killing blow. I love this change. It's fun for Torbjorn. He needs more fun meme changes like this in the game. Keep it, Blizzard. Tracer's Blink's ability now gets restored when you do use your recall ability. This is one of those changes that on paper might seem OP, but I think it's very good for Tracer because it makes sense. Why do you get reloaded bullets but not your Blink ability? Widow's change was kind of confusing at first. Not her primary form of fire, where it did get a damage increase and a spread reduction, but it's her secondary fire. Her sniper shot now pierces enemies, which I interpreted it as it doesn't get a damage reduction if it does shoot enemy armor like Reinhardt or something. Winston's change is really good, but is shown poorly in this example, where the enemy now charges Winston's ultimate every single time they shoot his barrier, which means something like Bastion could basically give him so much ultimate charge because they were just raining so much bullets in his barrier. And his primary rage ultimate ability, now the melee damage is increased and the knockback is increased too. They've been having a lot of fun with knockback increases in this change. And Hammond now is just a ball. He's just a ball. He's no longer a hamster. He's no longer Hammond. He is quite literally just a wrecking ball. And I'll be honest, I think this is probably one of the worst changes on the Experimento card. While yes, he does get 3 seconds taken off a lot of his abilities, I don't know. I feel like it just doesn't fit Hammond. Even though this is a joke of a change, do not keep this, Blizzard. Like, this would be a terrible change. Zarya now gets granted 2 bubbles back to back, meaning that you can bubble 2 teammates one after another, or bubble yourself one after another, or bubble a teammate and then yourself one after another. But you have to remember, you only get 2 bubbles, and then you have to wait for the bubble to get reset, similar like how Tracer's Blink or Junkrat's C4 works. And Zenyatta can now float for only 3 seconds. It's not like Sigma where he's able to float indefinitely. He does get put back to Earth because, well, he does have to be humbled for a little bit, but I like this change because it's Zenyatta. Any sort of change that is fun with him is going to be a good change, and I think would be interesting to see kept in the game. And that was every single change on the experimental card for April Fools, and you have to remember that this is just a fun experimental update. It's probably not going to go onto live servers. Maybe like Symmetra's change, or maybe even Zarya's change might go onto live servers, but stuff like the Hammond change or the Reaper change probably won't, because that's all just for fun. But let me know what your favorite change is from this update, and I'll see you guys later. So I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.